Hey folks, JD here, and today we're looking at this guy. This is the Visuo Siluroid. So, I'm really excited about taking this guy up. As you can see, it looks a little bit like the DJI Mavic. It's very insectoid in its look. It's got a nice curved back. It's got a couple of really great features as well, such as camera. This lens can move slightly, not very much, as I'm sure you can see there, but it can move enough just to ensure that as you're flying you get the video that you want. Four very strong LEDs on the outside, two very strong LEDs on the front here as well. All this ensures that you can see it correctly, you know exactly which way it's pointing. There's no LEDs on the back, so you can most definitely see when you are flying it from the front. So all in all, this does look to be a really good quadcopter. I hope it flies as well as I think it does. Now, for the pre-flight checks, what I've done is I've gone through, tightened up all these screws that you can see, ensured that all the bolts are all nice and tight and everything is exactly as it should be. The battery is connected properly, and I've been through all the propellers just to ensure that they are seated correctly as well. So all in all, I think we're ready to take this guy up. A couple of things to note though about this video before we go any further. We're now using GoPro cameras, so hopefully it's all squared up and lined up correctly. I hope it is. I hope you can see it correctly. I hope everything's working as it should be. So alright then folks, so without further ado, let's take this one up. Alright, so the on and off button is just under here. Just pushing it, sliding it over, you can see that the two green LEDs at the front and the two red LEDs at the back have now started to flash. I don't have an SD card in there. I've decided to go with my phone and record directly onto that. At least that way then, as soon as I'm walking back to edit the video, it's uploading and I can get access to it nice and easily. So here's the transmitter. The transmitter I think is beautiful. I think it's really nice, and I'm hoping that it's going to work as well as I think it's going to work, as well as I hope it's going to work. So let's turn her on. So one push of the on button, and then bind with a standard up and down of the left analog stick. Now you can see all four lights are flashing in unison, and then they are solid. That means, along with this solid red light on the transmitter, that everything is working exactly as it should. It's all bound, it's all ready to go. There's one more thing we've got to do, and that's just to add our phone to here and open up the correct application. Okay, so here's the application. The application is called the XSW UFO. Now you can get this from the instruction manual. There's a QR code in the back. So let's have a quick little look. If I just click play, let's see whether or not we are synced up video wise. Yes, we are. We're ready to go. Right, okay, let's just try one last thing. Let's just move the drone. There we go. We are relaying video. Perfect. One thing to note, these little holders here, they aren't holding my phone very securely, so there might be a bit of an issue there. But what I'm going to do is just start off the video recording. As soon as we get some numbers on the screen, there we go, recording. So let's take off then. So I think we're ready to go. Let's try auto takeoff. Little button here on the transmitter. Okay, auto takeoff does not work exactly as Dean Daniels said it wouldn't. So it doesn't really matter. That's just a nice little gimmicky thing anyway. Right, up we go. Oh wow, this really does look pretty mean. So we've got a slight breeze coming in here today, folks. Coming in at about 4.5 miles an hour. Not the end of the world. Just got to ensure that we counter for that breeze. Okay, so just spinning it around a couple of times, just trying to get a feel for the quadcopter for a second, see how it reacts. It's very quick. It is very quick. So far, so good. Taken off. The motors are really quite quiet. They're not that loud. When you spin this quadcopter, when you turn this quadcopter, it does turn pretty well. So, it just spins on the spot. Okay, so far, so good. So with the added game controller-esque transmitter, this really does sit in your hand nicely. It is quite easy to pilot as well. No altitude hold with this particular model, but that doesn't really matter. Altitude hold is a fantastic feature, but to be honest, now and again I just prefer to have a quadcopter that flies extremely well, and this guy does. he is very light and is having a bit of difficulty in turning, so let's kick the speed up a little bit. So speed mode 2, using the left analog stick, that then increases the power output to the motors and increases the speed of this thing. Wow. Now we've got the correct amount of speed, I think, to counteract this little bit of a breeze that we've got. It's not much, as I'm sure you can see from the trees in front. The trees aren't really swaying that much, so it's not really that much of an issue to humans, but it is an issue to something as light as this drone. And wow, this thing flies very, very well. Okay, speed mode 2 we're currently in. It pitches quite nice at the front as well, doesn't overly drive itself forward into the ground, so if you haven't altered your video camera, the chances are you're going to be okay, as in altered the angle of the lens rather. Okay, speed mode 3. So speed mode 3, this should be extreme mode. Yeah, turning is a lot more vicious. This is where we start to see the quadcopter turn and pitch up from the rear at the same time as those motors engage. Wow. And then back to speed mode 1. Well, okay, so I think we've got the flight of it down. That seems to be really good so far. Let's see if we can get it into sort of a gentle hover even with this wind, and then we can see. Let me see if I can. No, the wind is pushing it up every time. Try. There we go. That is lovely. It's not too loud. The body isn't shaking too much, which means the motors are nicely balanced. They're configured correctly. It is doing exactly what it should be doing. Right, so let's try a couple of things. As we've got him there, just kind of sitting quite nicely, let's try a flip. And let's see how these flips react. So let's take him back around. Let's turn him round to face me. Let's pitch him forward a bit towards me a little bit. Oh, nice. First flip successfully completed. Let's try again. Pitch him forward to me. Okay, now. Oh, there we go. That was a right-hand flip. Executed very nicely. So, to answer one of the questions on the comment section, I'm gonna write it as well. But when I was asked, are these brushed or brushless? These are most definitely brushed motors. I've never heard brushless motors as calm as this. To be honest with you, that's not the end of the world because it flies so well. All in all, I'm happy with this. This is so much fun. And those LEDs, good God, those LEDs are bright. You can see them. If I just land them around about there, you can see the green and you can see the red, and it's not just a hazy sort of blob of colour. You can most definitely make out that. You can definitely make out and differentiate between the colours. Back to speed mode 1. There's a definite change in pitch as soon as you hit speed mode 3. You see the front of the. As soon as you hit speed mode 3, you see the front of the quadcopter just dive down slightly, and you hit speed mode 1 and it is a definite change. Oh, he's gliding through here. He's loving life. I mean, without altitude hold, you're really seeing this thing fly, and you're really seeing it fly to its best ability. With altitude hold, you've always got that split second where you can just take your thumb off the left hand analog stick and it'll just hang there. Whereas this guy, you've got to keep on pumping that left stick up and down, feathering the throttle constantly, just to ensure that he stays in the air, just to ensure he doesn't come down too close to the ground and kiss the ground. Oh, I was just about to say there's no battery lights, but yes, there they are. Right, okay, no problem. I'll keep him going around for a couple more seconds. Come on, fella, come back to me. Yes, there we go. Ha ha ha! Perfect. All right then. let's take him in for a verdict. Okay, so thoughts on this guy. Oh well, ever since the unboxing and ever since I saw this guy, you know when you look at a quadcopter and you think, wow, this thing is going to fly well, and then you hope and hope and hope, and it comes to the actual flight day, and then you fly it, and everything that you thought has been confirmed. This guy flies very, very well. I thought it was a little bit touch and go to begin with, but that just turned out to be the breeze that we've got here, and not the quadcopter. Basically what was happening is that it looked like it was feathering a little bit like this, but as soon as the breeze died down and I brought him in close to me, I could see that certainly was not the case. That was most definitely the little breeze that we had here acting against the quadcopter. So let's go through the LEDs. So LEDs at the front, extremely bright. You can't miss them. Same as the motor LEDs as well. They are bright, very, very bright. Turns very nicely. Doesn't over arc when he turns either. He turns in a very, very small window and then comes directly back. Now, as soon as you crank up the speed mode 2, that arc increases. Speed mode 3, it increases a little bit more as well, but doesn't overly need a lot of space to turn. 3D flips, they work tremendously. Flip to the right, flip to the left, backwards and forwards, no issue. I think overall, if you're looking for a quadcopter that's nice, cheap, looks aesthetically pleasing, flies very well, doesn't have altitude hold, look at this guy. If you do want the model with altitude hold, I'll put that link in the description as well. There we go, folks. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.